Hi everyone, it's Nicole for Simon Says Stamp, and this is the Better Together blog hop, and I am using the Soaring For You stamp set and coordinating dies for my card share today. And to start my card, I am using some of the Simon Says Stamp die inks to stamp the kites. And you can see that I was testing out a lot of different color combinations here before I settled on kind of what I liked. This is the red kite that I stamped there, the solid one with the little heart, is actually Hot Lips ink color, and then the outline stamp is the Schoolhouse Red Simon Says Stamp ink. And I just kind of played around with different color combinations. I wanted all of my kites to be in the pink and red color family, even though this isn't a Valentine's specific card, it's more of a kind of love type theme card. I still wanted to kind of have those pinks and reds on a really vibrant blue background. The second kite here is the Doll Pink ink with the Schoolhouse Red outline, and then I stamped some of the kite tails here with the Simon Says Stamp black ink. And I actually ended up not using the ribbon, or the kite tail rather, that you see there, and I used the shorter one that I'm getting ready to stamp. My last kite, I don't think I caught it on video because I really struggled finding a lighter pink. I tried the lightest pink that Simon Says Stamp has, which is the Cotton Candy ink, and it was too light. You can kind of see it down there in that bottom right corner on my other paper where I had lots of different samples there. And so I ended up going with the Hero Arts Bubblegum ink, and I liked it a lot better, at least with this combination of ink colors for this project. And I ended up using all three of the kite designs in this stamp set, just in different colors. I like to put my elements on my cards and things in groups of 3. Now, the one thing that I did not like about this particular kite tail that I didn't use, the longer one, is it didn't really line up very well for the die cut. I think I had it skewed when I stamped it. So I think that one at least in particular might work a little bit better if you just stamp the kite tail design directly on your paper rather than trying to do the die cutting. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the clouds for my card. I'm using the Simon Says Stamp Sea Glass ink, and I'm using both the solid and the outline cloud designs. And I'm going to use the same ink for both. I'm going to create 4 clouds, and then go ahead and take the coordinating dies, which I'm using the Elizabeth Craft snips to cut apart my metal dies here. These are wonderful for cutting apart your dies. Sometimes there are so many dies put together that you can't really bend them back and forth to get them apart, and these work wonderfully. I really, really like these. And then I have the solid kite here, which I didn't realize that there was a kite that coordinated with the kite with the heart design until I'd already die cut the other one, which you could definitely do it either way. But I am going to go ahead and die cut this solid kite with the heart cutout when I die cut my clouds, and show you both ways you can stamp that particular kite design. And then it's really up to you which one you want to use. So I'm going to pop that out. Go ahead and die cut all of the clouds here. And then I am going to go ahead and stamp this other kite so you can just see the difference between the two. I ended up using the one that I did originally, but either one are very, very cute. I think this one, the solid one with the little heart cutout, would be adorable die cut from maybe several colors of felt or something, and no stamping. I like the design of it a lot. So those are the 2 ways you can use that particular design. Once I have that done, I am ready to start my background for my card. And I decided to create a really pretty, like, sky blue type of background for my kites to be floating up in the sky. And I'm using some watercolor paper here with the Tim Holtz Tumbled Glass Distress ink and also the Salty Ocean Distress ink. I covered the entire piece of watercolor paper here with the Tumbled Glass Distress ink. and then went in with the Salty Ocean Distress ink and blended it in to just darken up about 2/3 of the top of the background there. And what I'm going to be doing is adding a distressed background. You definitely wouldn't have to do it as distressed as what I'm going to do, but I like the look of adding water droplets to the background or to the distress ink like this and having the ink wick away. I'm going to blend in that darker blue ink into the lighter blue and just work that in until I get rid of any of the ink blending tool lines that there might be, and until I get the color that I want. Once I have that, I can go ahead and I'm just going to grab some water and then a paintbrush and add those water droplets all over the surface of the cardstock, and you will see the ink start to wick away. Now, I really like the kind of more distressed look. If you don't want yours to look so distressed, you could definitely leave it as is, or you could even take the mini mister and give it a more even coating of water droplets, and they'll be much, much smaller. I'm stamping the greeting from Soaring for You using the Simon Says Stamp black ink, and then I'm going to lay out the elements that I have die cut so that it gives me a little bit of a guide to go on for adding my stamped hearts to the background. And I could have adhered the elements and then added some of the stamping, I guess, if I wanted to, but I don't like my embossing powder to stick to any of the adhesive that I use to add these elements, and some of the hearts are ended up actually being behind my kites and clouds and things. So I'm just laying them out to get a general idea of where I'm going to be putting everything, and that'll give me enough of a base to go on for stamping these little groups of hearts all over. And it gives me an idea of how I want my card to flow as well. Now I'm going to use Versamark ink to stamp all of these little heart groupings all over. And then I'll use the red embossing powder from American Crafts to really make these pop. So once I kind of have it laid out the way I want, and I messed with it quite a bit, excuse me, I'm going to pop off certain pieces of the card and go ahead and ink up my background. So you can see I moved one of the kites out of the way and added some stamps, kind of lay things back to make sure. I thought I was going to mask off part of this word, and I ended up not because I moved my stamp over enough and I just couldn't get it to work. I didn't want it to look masked. I wanted the hearts to kind of go around the word, and it actually had a little opening there, so it worked out. And I'm making sure to stamp some of these off the edges of my background. This makes it look like it grounds the design a little bit better, so it doesn't seem like everything is just kind of floating out there in La La Land or whatever. Sprinkling on that red embossing powder and then just flicking it off over my trash can, any of that excess powder. So there is quite a bit of my hearts, and I'm going to go ahead and add some up here at the top. I like to add the embossing powder as I go. It gives me a better idea of where I've already stamped so that I know where I need to kind of fill in. Now, when I stamped this group of stamps up there in the top left corner, I ended up kind of pressing too hard, and so a few of the hearts kind of got smushed out. So the embossing powder didn't emboss very nicely. You can kind of see it there when I moved the clouds, but luckily I was planning on adding clouds and a kite there anyway, and it kind of hides that little oops or mess up on the card. So even if you hadn't been planning on maybe putting an element there, you can maybe rearrange just a little bit so that you don't have to redo the whole background. I'm a big fan of trying to find a way to make it work, even if you make a little mistake while you're working on it or whatever, and instead of having to start all over again. I'm adhering all of my elements here with some foam adhesive. I wanted them to kind of pop off the background. This is a fairly flat card. There is not much dimension or very many layers here other than the stamped and die cut layers in the background. So the foam adhesive is my favorite way to add immediate dimension without tons of bulk. The only thing that I'm not adhering with foam adhesive is the kite tails, which I'm just using the Zig Glue pen to glue those down. Now I felt like down below the greeting needed a little bit of embellishment, so I added the stamped hearts again with the red embossing powder, and then I'll just heat set that. I trimmed off the excess, and then I'm going ahead and adhering my whole panel to my card base and taking a little Wink of Stella clear glitter brush marker, coloring over all the kites here to add just a little bit of glitz and glimmer. And finally, the last thing I'm going to do is take a 1/4 of an inch corner rounder and round all 4 corners. I hope you've enjoyed this video showcasing products from the Simon Says Stamp Better Together release. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Please subscribe for weekly card making and stamping videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.